Hello and welcome to the Gathering Greenwood quick guide video tutorial for using the Explore area of Ancestry.com search function. To get to this page, you can click the word search, which appears at the top of almost every page at Ancestry.com. That drops down a menu, and the first option is to search all collections. Click on that and you will end up at this page. You may be familiar with the search box here, which gives the option to type in a person's name and location. This section will search all the records at Ancestry that are searchable by typing. You might hear those called indexed records, by the way. Using this search box is kind of a scatter approach to genealogy. You'll likely find some records that are helpful, but you'll have gaps in your research. I'm not saying you shouldn't use that all collection search function. However, good genealogy practices include learning about the records that are available for the specific time and place where your person of focus lived, deciding which record collections should or could include your focus person, and then ensuring you've looked for your person in each of those collections. That's how you'll fill in the gaps in the timeline and events for the person you're researching. Just a little side note here, how to figure out which records were kept or are available for a specific time and place is discussed more in the quick guide video for the Research Wiki at Family Search. Many of those research wikis will point you back here to Ancestry.com to find a specific record set or collection. So you're kind of going to use those in tandem and go back and forth. Think of these Explore options in red as a shortcut to Ancestry's card catalog of records. You can go right to a record type, such as the federal census records, which are a staple of genealogy research. Or you can scroll down and start with a specific location first. Let's take a look at Ancestry's record set for the state of Oklahoma. Ancestry may also suggest record collections that aren't specific to the state of Oklahoma in this list, but anything suggested here will include some information about Oklahomans, like these Dutch Reformed Church records probably include at least some records that have to do with an Oklahoma birth, marriage, or death that was recorded in those church records. And don't forget to look at the county-specific record sets as well. Counties shown here have unique collections specific to their own county. If you don't see your county listed here, it doesn't mean Ancestry has zero information for anyone living in that county. For example, Tulsa County isn't on this list, but there are city directories, military records, census record, land records, newspapers, wills, probates, on and on that are available for people living in Tulsa County at Ancestry.com. They're just nested under the larger statewide or federal record collections instead of being a record that's just unique to Tulsa County alone. Before we move on, I want to call attention to these little notifiers to the right of a particular record set. This one in red says updated. So if you previously searched the Oklahoma World War II historical collection Ancestry, you might want to do it again, since they have added new information. Several other records here have the word free next to them. That means you can view the search results even if you aren't paying for a subscription at Ancestry.com, or you aren't in person at a library or a family history center using an Ancestry Library Edition. Which, side note, if you didn't know you could do that, you always have access to Ancestry and their records if you just go to a participating library or family history center, and there are several around Tulsa. And also notice I said on those free records you can view the search results, because even if you don't have an active subscription with Ancestry, you can still view this page that we're resting on and search the records without a subscription. Ancestry will restrict some of the information in the actual search results. Like you'll be able to see all the search results, but it will blur out some of the details in those. They usually give you just enough information to let you know that you really want to see the rest of it. So don't forget, you have another option. Instead of purchasing the subscription, you can go to the library or a family search family history center. And Ancestry isn't the only place you can find the records listed here. We a lot of times start with Ancestry and looking at records because they have a very user-friendly format, but Many of the record collections listed here are going to be available at other places as well. Family Search is always free, so if it's available at Family Search and and you can see it here, and even if you search it and you say, oh, there was a record for this particular Joe Williams that I want to look at, if Family Search has that collection, you know the record you're looking for now. And even though Family Search's search function might not be as user-friendly, you'll be able to go find the record at Family Search without leaving the comfort of your own home even. Or you might find the record online at the National Archives or through a local historical or genealogical society or the local county archives or the county court records. So there's lots of places you can find information online. This video is just focusing on Ancestry. Again, it's a very user-friendly format. Let's take a look at this particular collection. You may have heard people talk about the Dawes rolls or the Dawes cards, but not know specifically what those are, or if your family might have been included in them. Well, for any record here, you can click on the collection. Let's use this one as an example. You'll be given the option to type a name and start searching the collection directly, but first scroll down. In fact, always scroll down and read the sides of the Ancestry screens. You'll find some great information. For each record collection at Ancestry, source information is provided. This is where Ancestry accessed the information, which makes sense since they had to get it from somewhere, right? In this case, it was the National Archives in Washington, D.C. And they even give the name of the collection at the National Archive, what they call it at the National Archive. When you view the source information, make sure to ask yourself, is Ancestry offering all of the information from that record group or just a portion? Most of the times it's just a portion. So you can use this source information as a jumping off point to go to the source website, in this case the National Archive at Washington, D.C., and see what other information and records they have there. Ancestry will also provide information about the record collection that you're looking at. This About section has several pages of information. You have to scroll down numerous times. The Historical Background section can help you decide if your person of focus should be included in this record set or not, and for which years information was documented. There's a lengthy What's Included in This Database section with the information collected on each enrollment card. Even tips for how to effectively search this database at Ancestry, which of course you can do at the top of the screen now that you know more about the record. And there are so many other record sets for Oklahoma to explore. There are 13 for Oklahoma birth, marriages, and death alone. And make sure you do notice that little View All section at the bottom of each category. Let's leave this location exploring alone for right now, and let's see what happens if you go to the Explore by collection type instead. If you click on the little View All there, it leads you to the main catalog, which, and let me just add a note, if you're using the Ancestry library or institution, you might get a little pop-up window first, and you'd have to do another, like go to the main source or View All or something like that. Then it's going to bring you to this page. This is the main catalog, card catalog page. You can also get directly to this just by choosing the bottom item on that search function. So the main catalog card catalog, which as you see includes records from all over the United States and the world. We've got Australia, South Carolina, Scotland, all coming up mixed together on the homepage. This lack of order might seem odd until you realized right now I have this set to sort by the date added. So these are all record sets which are new at Ancestry. And I wanted to highlight that to make a point that records are being added all the time. If you were previously looking for one of the record collections like this and couldn't find an online collection anywhere, one would now exist. And I stress the word online because clearly all of the records existed somewhere before being online, and you may have been able to access the record by contacting a county office or the archive or historical society directly, might have been able to help you. We're a little bit spoiled by all the records coming online and being able to do so much research from the comfort of our own homes. But please remember to ask yourself where the physical records might be stored still, and look into those kinds of options, because there's usually going to be more records at that physical location than what you can see here. Okay, let's stick with Oklahoma as our example. You can see you can enter the title or keywords for records. Over on the left, in the keyword search box, I've put Oklahoma marriage. And that will filter this list down to records that might include information about a marriage that happened in Oklahoma. You can see this resulted in 25 record sets. That's more, and this is just for marriages, and that's more than what was listed in when we searched by the location. When we did Oklahoma birth, marriages, and death category, there were only 13 there. So clearly, this keyword search is less restrictive than if you explore by the location, which that can be good and bad. You know, sometimes you can get way too many results and sometimes not enough. So be aware to try both. In addition to government-created marriage records, this list includes a suggestion to look in the newspapers, since many newspapers published marriage licenses and, of course, marriage announcements. It's also suggesting some records that say web in front of them. Let's look at one of those. This web indicator is letting you know that the information is outside of Ancestry's record holdings, but freely available to search. So Ancestry is setting up a search function. Some of the links and search functions might be broken from time to time as the outside record holder changes their screens. Don't worry about it. If the links are broken, you still know where to go. In this case, it's the Oklahoma Historical Society. So a big thank you and shout out to them that they have a genealogical record resource that's available to search freely online. Again, remember to always scroll down. You'll see that source information and the About section. Landing on this record is a good reminder of how much information exists outside of the big websites like Ancestry.com and FamilySearch.org. If we were going to go to the Oklahoma Historical Society directly, they would likely have more information about this record collection than the few sentences that Ancestry has provided here. So again, learn about the record collection you're using, learn about what other records might be at the source location. If we go back to the list of Oklahoma marriage suggestions, you'll see that these two collections look pretty similar to each other and both cover many of the same years. They overlap from 1893 to 1951. But if you read the About information for each collection, you'll see that's not the only difference. One of these record sets doesn't include the same number of counties. And without reading the About information, you wouldn't know if, let's say you're looking for a record in Payne County, Oklahoma. You wouldn't know if your record should actually be there or not unless you know that that collection includes Payne County, Oklahoma. So always read that About information and the source information. I know this video is getting a little bit long, but I wanted to show you a few last things I think are really helpful. Let's look at the Veterans Administration Index. It's a good example of the first thing I wanted to show you. In the source information and About sections for that record, it lists the National Archive in St. Louis and Family Search. Ancestry even gives the link to go to each. This is such a great hint from Ancestry because although the Ancestry collection doesn't have images of the actual cards, you can view the images for free at Family Search, and you can order additional information that may be available for the person on the card if you contact the National Archive in St. Louis. So if Ancestry has provided a link, take it seriously. Even if the link is broken, go to the website yourself and look for the collection wherever Ancestry was trying to point you. Here's the second example I wanted to use. In the source information for the Virginia Deaths and Burials Index, 1853 to 1917, you'll see Family Search is the source, not the state of Virginia or the counties of the Virginia who created the original record, right? Family Search did not create the original record. But notice it says the source where Ancestry got their information was the digital copies of original and compiled records. That means Family Search has the image. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see in the About section that some of the information given for each person in the Ancestry version of this record set is the FHL film number. I'm going to enlarge that in red. And Ancestry is telling you that the FHL film number refers to the microfilm number of this collection at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, Utah. These are the FamilySearch.org folks. In fact, the Family History Library has been renamed to the Family Search Library. Anytime you search a record at Ancestry and see this FHL film number, you'll know that you can view that image at Family Search. There's a separate quick guide video on Family Search that will go into more information, but I'll quickly show you how to view that film number at Family Search. Before going there, though, I'd like to point out that Ancestry is suggesting a similar record with an image over on the right-hand side. It turns out that is the same record and it does have the image. So you won't always need to look at the Family History Library film number, but it comes in very handy when Ancestry doesn't have an image. For this particular batch of Virginia deaths, you can see that Ancestry has two different collections that kind of overlap. That one over on the right on the bottom here with Mary E. Allen. So that was added later probably and includes the image. So check that before you go do the work at Family Search. Okay, you need a free account at FamilySearch.org. And you can see they proudly advertise everything that they have gathered is available for free. They can offer it for free because Family Search is owned and operated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You may know them as the Mormon Church, although they prefer the full name of their church be used. Family history research is an important value, and their church has been collecting and preserving genealogy records since the late 1800s and imaging records since 1938. So going to counties, going to churches, and taking photographs of the records and storing them on microfilm. The way to access those films is here. You'll click their search box at the top and then catalog. You can also click images, but catalog seems to be a little more user-friendly. So try catalog first. This will give a search box where one of the options is to search by the film number. When you click that, the drop down will open up that allows you to enter a film number. And you get that right from the Ancestry.com record, that little inset box I put in the bottom right. That's just a screenshot from the Ancestry.com information, and you can see that film number 33443 is listed right on the Ancestry information. All right, that covers everything I wanted to show you about the Ancestry Explore function on their search features. Thank you for watching this video. For more information on other quick guide video tutorials, you can visit the greenwoodculturalcenter.org.